Seriously, let's be honest, $70 for a game hurts. But some games don't just justify full price, they earn it. These are 16 PS5 games where the quality, content, and experience make every dollar feel worth it.
Moving on to Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Insomniac's definitive superhero experience. A massive sequel that fully justifies its premium price tag. You play as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales, seamlessly switching between them across an expanded New York that finally feels complete. Impressive, the story goes darker than ever. Venom, Kraven, and the symbiote arc push Peter into his most personal conflict yet. Perfected. Combat and traversal feel perfected. Web wings transform movement, making exploration faster and more fluid. Meaningful side content, not filler. Character-driven quests add emotional weight and world building. Stunning visuals, instant loading, and excellent DualSense support. Spider-Man 2 earns every dollar. And next, superhero spectacle gives way to RPG freedom without limits.
Moving on to Baldur's Gate 3, the modern gold standard for role-playing games. A massive RPG that fully justifies its full price through depth and freedom. You're infected with a mind flayer parasite. Every decision you make shapes the world, the story, and your companions. Player freedom is unmatched. Almost every encounter supports multiple solutions: combat, stealth, dialogue, or creativity. Character creation is absurdly deep. Classes, races, builds, and backgrounds radically change gameplay. The writing is phenomenal throughout. Companions feel human, reactive, and emotionally complex. With enormous replayability and hundreds of hours of content, Baldur's Gate 3 earns every dollar. And next, fantasy brilliance descends into psychological horror.
Moving on to Alan Wake 2, Remedy's long-awaited survival horror masterpiece. 13 years after the original, this sequel fully earns its premium price. The story follows dual protagonists in parallel realities. Saga Anderson investigates murders in Bright Falls, while Alan remains trapped in the dark place. This is pure survival horror at its core. Limited resources, desperate combat, and light as your primary weapon create constant tension. Saga's Mind Place adds a detective layer. Piecing together clues and profiling suspects deepens the mystery. Production quality is exceptional. Live action sequences, powerful performances, and bold creative risks elevate immersion. Post-launch DLC expansions significantly add value. New stories expand the lore and Remedy universe. With film-level presentation and confident storytelling, Alan Wake 2 earns every dollar. And next, narrative horror gives way to endless monster hunting.
Moving on to Monster Hunter Wilds, Capcom's biggest evolution of the series yet. This is the step forward world fans have been waiting for. The Forbidden Lands are massive and fully seamless. Open environments connect naturally, with dynamic weather changing how every hunt plays out. Monster behavior is smarter and more reactive. Creatures adapt to the environment, respond to your tactics, and behave like real wildlife. Traversal has been dramatically expanded. Secrets allow mounted combat, while vertical movement opens new strategies. Weapon movesets feel meaningfully upgraded. Every weapon type gains new mechanics that reward mastery. Multiplayer remains central to the experience. 4-player co-op is smoother and more flexible than ever. With hundreds of hours of progression and long-term replay value, Monster Hunter Wilds earns every dollar. And next, relentless hunting gives way to oceanic isolation. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, sharpens Kojima's vision with more confidence and emotional clarity. The isolation returns, but this time it's balanced with a stronger sense of connection. Sam's journey expands across Mexico and Australia. Earthquakes, sandstorms, wildfires, and timefall actively reshape landscapes, forcing constant adaptation. The world feels far more alive. NPC porters travel alongside you, sharing supplies and rebuilding society piece by piece. The DHV Magellan serves as a central hub. Crew interactions between missions add warmth and continuity the first game lacked. Gameplay refinements smooth earlier frustrations. Combat, vehicles, and traversal tools all feel more flexible and responsive. The Seam introduces surreal exploration, a haunting space between life and death that reshapes atmosphere and pacing. With refined systems, reactive music, and a substantial runtime, Death Stranding 2 earns its full price. And next, quiet reflection gives way to neon-lit chaos. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition is the comeback story nobody expected. Years later, this is finally the game CD Projekt Red promised. The Ultimate Edition includes the full base game and Phantom Liberty. On PS5, performance is smooth, visuals are sharp, and loading is nearly instant. Night City is one of gaming's most detailed open worlds. 6 distinct districts, dense side quests, and branching storylines reward exploration. You play as V, a mercenary with Johnny Silverhand slowly taking over your mind. RPG systems allow total freedom. Hacking builds, gun-focused combat, stealth net running, or pure charisma. Phantom Liberty elevates everything. New characters, Dogtown, and redesigned progression add real depth. After years of fixes, the PS5 version is stable, polished, and packed with content. With 100+ hours of gameplay, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition fully earns its price. And next, Neon Chaos fades into classic fantasy adventure. Dragon's Dogma 2 is Capcom doubling down on ambition, even when it gets messy. It's flawed, bold, and absolutely worth experiencing. The core loop is immediately addictive. You create your character and main pawn, then explore a massive open world alongside AI companions. Impressed, the pawn system remains the game's secret weapon. Hiring other players' pawns creates unpredictable encounters and genuine emergent gameplay. Combat is class-driven and deeply physical. Every vocation plays differently, and switching roles completely reshapes how fights unfold. The world itself is dangerous and intimidating. Dense forests, monster-filled caves, and a brutal day-night cycle make travel feel risky, especially after dark. Yes, it has rough edges. Performance dips and odd design choices exist, but the core experience shines through. With dozens of hours, New Game Plus, and multiple endings, Dragon's Dogma 2 earns its full price through ambition alone. And next, classic fantasy gives way to grim-dark warfare. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is pure, unfiltered power fantasy. You're a genetically enhanced Space Marine in power armor, tearing through endless Tyranid swarms. The scale is absolutely insane. Hundreds of enemies flood the screen, massive set pieces explode around you, and the grim dark tone is nailed perfectly. Combat is brutal and aggressive. Chainswords shred enemies up close, executions restore health, and survival rewards constant forward momentum. Hesitation gets you killed, aggression keeps you alive. The campaign delivers blockbuster intensity, around 8 to 10 hours of cinematic missions, varied encounters, and lore that actually respects the Warhammer universe. The real longevity comes from co-op operations, 3-player PvE missions with class progression, gear unlocks, and long-term replay value. PvP rounds out the package, 6v6 modes with distinct classes, and that unmistakable Warhammer aesthetic. Campaign, co-op, multiplayer, Space Marine 2 earns its price through sheer scale and spectacle. And next, from grim-dark warfare to reality-shattering dimensions.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is the PS5's defining technical showcase. This is the game that proved next-gen wasn't just marketing hype. The dimension hopping is genuinely jaw-dropping. Entire worlds swap instantly mid-combat with zero loading,
powered by the PS5's SSD. It never feels scripted, just seamless, fast, and impossible on last-gen hardware. But the tech is only half the story. The action platforming is classic Ratchet at its best. Wild weapons, explosive combat, and constant creativity keep every encounter fresh. Turning enemies into plants or ricocheting bullets across arenas never gets old. Rivet is a standout addition. Her story and relationship with Kit feel natural, emotional, and fully earned. Every planet is visually stunning and packed with secrets. From neon cities to alien wilderness, this is one of the best-looking games on PS5. Exciting DualSense support and perfectly paced content, Rift Apart fully earns its price. And next, vibrant platforming gives way to precision-driven combat.
Stellar Blade is an action game that deserves far more respect than it got at launch. The controversy distracted people, but the game itself is genuinely excellent. You play as Eve, an android warrior sent to reclaim Earth from alien invaders. Combat is where Stellar Blade truly shines, a slick blend of Nier-style action and Sekiro-inspired precision. It's fast, demanding, and incredibly satisfying when everything clicks. The parry system is razor-sharp. Perfectly timed blocks and dodges trigger brutal counterattacks, rewarding skill and focus. Boss fights push you hard, demanding pattern recognition, spacing, and flawless execution. Visually, the world is stunning. Ruined cities overtaken by nature, vast deserts, and eerie underground facilities create strong atmosphere. On PS5, character models and environments look incredible at a smooth 60 FPS. The story swings for the fences. Themes of identity, extinction, and humanity's legacy land better than expected. With multiple endings, deep builds, and rewarding exploration, Stellar Blade earns its full price. And next, stylish combat gives way to unforgiving Soulsborne challenge.
Demon's Souls Remake is the game that proved the PS5 was something special. This wasn't just a remake, it was a statement. This is where the Souls-like genre began, brutal, methodical, and completely unforgiving. Bluepoint rebuilt From Software's 2009 cult classic into a visual powerhouse without losing its soul. The visual overhaul is breathtaking. Ray-traced lighting, dense fog, and photoreal textures create a crushing atmosphere. Every location feels heavy, hostile, and unforgettable. Crucially, the gameplay stays faithful. Enemy placements, combat pacing, and difficulty remain untouched. Veterans rely on muscle memory, while newcomers learn through pain and persistence. Each archstone has a distinct identity. Boletaria's Gothic towers, Latria's nightmarish prison, and poison-choked swamps all demand different approaches. The dark fantasy art direction is flawless. DualSense support deepens immersion. Every strike, block, and bow pull is felt through haptics and adaptive triggers. With multiple builds, New Game Plus, and online play, this remains endlessly replayable. And next, Relentless Challenge gives way to pure racing precision.
Gran Turismo 7 is the definitive racing experience on PS5. There's no real debate here. The car roster is automotive history. Over 400 meticulously recreated vehicles from across generations. From Japanese legends to modern hypercars, every car feels authentic to drive. The GT Cafe Career Mode is a standout. You progress by collecting cars while learning their history. It turns racing into a genuine celebration of car culture. DualSense support is excellent. You feel tire grip, road texture, and braking resistance through haptics and adaptive triggers. It completely transforms controller racing. Track selection is strong. Real-world circuits like Nürburgring and Spa sit alongside classic originals. Free updates continue adding cars and events post-launch. With PSVR 2 support, immersion reaches another level. And next, Racing precision gives way to silent blades and historical stealth.
Assassin's Creed Shadows finally takes the series to feudal Japan. After years of requests, Ubisoft is delivering something ambitious. You play as two distinct protagonists. Naoe is a shinobi built around stealth and classic assassinations. Yasuke is a samurai focused on direct, powerful combat. Swapping between them adds real variety. The setting is gorgeous. Cherry blossoms, ancient temples, dense cities, and dynamic seasons shape the world. The atmosphere feels authentic and carefully crafted. Stealth finally feels refined. Shadows matter, prone movement returns, and enemy AI is smarter. It feels closer to classic Assassin's Creed. Yasuke's combat is weighty and cinematic. Katana duels fully sell the samurai fantasy. With a large campaign and polished open-world design, this earns its full price. And next, history gives way to cosmic wonder. Astro Bot is pure, unapologetic gaming joy. Team Asobi expanded Astro's Playroom into a full experience, and it's phenomenal. This game is a love letter to PlayStation. You're rescuing iconic characters across galaxies, packed with references to PlayStation history. The fan service is everywhere, but the platforming is what truly shines. Level design is endlessly creative. Every planet introduces new mechanics, clever gimmicks, and secrets that reward curiosity. It never feels repetitive because ideas constantly evolve. DualSense integration is unmatched. You feel every surface through haptics, with adaptive triggers and motion controls adding real depth. This is the definitive showcase for the PS5 controller. Visually, it's charming and vibrant. Smooth 60 FPS performance, expressive animations, and a joyful soundtrack elevate every moment. With 10 to 15 hours of content and pure fun from start to finish, Astro Bot earns its price. And next, joyful platforming gives way to charming co-op chaos.
Sackboy: A Big Adventure is one of the most overlooked gems on PS5. Written off as a kid's game or launch filler, this is actually a top-tier 3D platformer. This isn't Little Big Planet. There are no creation tools here, just tightly designed, pure platforming. Sumo Digital crafted levels with creativity and polish that rival Nintendo's best. The level variety is fantastic. Textile factories, underwater kingdoms, cardboard space stations, and rhythm-based stages synced perfectly to licensed music. Every world introduces fresh mechanics and visual ideas. Co-op is where the game truly shines. Up to 4 players tackle levels built specifically around teamwork. Coordinated jumps, buddy throws, and chaotic fun make it unforgettable with friends. DualSense support is excellent. You feel different surfaces through haptics, with adaptive triggers adding subtle depth. With a solid campaign, extra challenges, and endless charm, Sackboy earns its full price. And finally, platforming joy gives way to turn-based RPG mastery.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a turn-based RPG punching far above its weight. From indie studio Sandfall Interactive, this debut title looks and feels shockingly AAA. The premise is haunting. Every year, the paintress writes a number, and everyone of that age dies instantly. This year, she painted 33, and you're part of a desperate expedition racing to stop her. Combat blends turn-based strategy with real-time action. Think classic JRPG structure mixed with active dodging and parrying during enemy turns. You're never just selecting commands, you're fully engaged in every fight. Built in Unreal Engine 5, the game is visually stunning. Belle Epoque France, fused with dark fantasy, creates a striking, unforgettable world. The art direction and presentation rival much bigger studios. Strong voice performances add emotional weight to the story. The characters feel grounded despite the surreal setting. With a 30 to 40-hour campaign, deep customization, and bold ideas, this easily earns its price. It's proof ambition matters more than studio size.
And that's it. 16 PS5 games that genuinely earn their full price. No filler, no regrets, just quality experiences. Which one's worth every dollar to you? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.